Hey, it's your girl MJ, and welcome to the Michelle Tillman channel. Thank you if you're a current subscriber and you came back. Welcome. If this is your first time to the channel, make sure you like this video, subscribe. I wanted to make a video about some of the things that we as women do, even Christian women, who are the target people who watch my channel mostly, but Christian women or women who identify with the Christian faith. Things that we do to turn men off. Like, they can be a man of God. They can be a man of God who loves God. They can want to be married and not want to marry you because you keep doing some of these things. So I'm going to be looking at my notes. So excuse me if you see me looking down at my card. And I just want to make sure that you guys get a heads up on some of the things that you do. Now, one of the things that I was guilty of that I did in past relationships was I consistently talked about my own flaws and all of the reasons and all of the things that I've done, did, or my characteristics on why, he might not like me. So I would preface it with, are you sure you can handle blankety blankety blank? So if this is you, are you sure you can handle me? Are you sure you can handle me? I'm an independent woman. I've been living by myself. I own my own house. I've been doing my own thing for the last 5 years. I don't take no mess from no man. Sometimes some people say I have an attitude. I'm real tight with my money. I can do this, I can do that. But it's like you're asking him, can he handle it? But you're putting it all from a negative spin. So whenever you're talking about some of the difficulties about who you are, there's no need to give him all that information at the beginning. Let him slowly and gradually really fall for you. And then once he's fallen for you, there will be things that he's willing to accept. And if he knows you're willing to change them, versus he don't know you from a can of paint and you're just listening to him all the reasons why he should not be secure in his decision to date you. So just make sure that when you're talking, if he asks you what your flaws are, I don't know how that would come up from a man, but if that comes up, just make sure you don't just start listing off tons of things that make you seem like a horrible person, because you wouldn't want to date you if you heard all that stuff at the beginning either. There were things that were really Brandon may not marry me if he knows this. And of course I didn't lead with those things. I warmed him up, wait till we was, talking for about 3 months, and was after he'd already told me he loved me, then I kind of scooted some of those details in. And at that point, when a man already loves you, he's just more willing to hear and accept it. So don't lead with your flaws. Don't give him all the reasons why he might not like you and can you handle me, because don't do that. That's not attractive. Another thing is only talking about yourself. Now, I'm guilty of this. It's kind of narcissistic, I understand, but for some reason I have a one-track mind. So when there's 5 different conversations going on in a room, I can't focus. But if someone asks you how you're doing and you're like, oh, I'm good, I'm doing great, my day was like this, I had this for lunch, and you start talking about yourself, but you forgot to stop and say, well, how are you doing? How was your day? You have to remember that relationships are two-sided, and don't just talk about yourself and forget to ask about the person who you are courting. It doesn't matter if they just say, I just want to hear about you. Don't allow them, and just for protection wise, don't just tell, let them talk, because you learn a lot about a person by hearing them speak. But don't get with the wrong man because you have never heard him truly talk about himself, or allow him to run with a false identity or lie for so long because you never really heard him talk about himself. Next thing is changing your perspective to match his. So for instance, if he says, hey, where you want to go eat? And you say, I want to eat Chinese. And then he was like, well, I was thinking about Italian. And you're like, okay, cool, Italian, whatever. A man wants someone who has their own opinion. Granted, he doesn't want her to be popping off and doing all this, but don't keep changing your mind just to match what he says. Like, yes, eventually if he's your husband, you will submit, but it's still like ladies first, ladies choice. Allow him to honor you with your choice, and he asked you, so that means he wanted to know. So let him honor your choice. And that's another thing. Allow him to be chivalrous. Don't, like, if he's trying to open your door, don't be like, oh, I got my door, I got it. You don't have to do all that. No. Let the man open your door. Let the man, pull out your chair. And it might seem real extra at first, and it's funny because you never had a guy do that for you. But trust me, you had trained a man from the beginning. Like, literally on me and Brandon's first date, I came downstairs and I got in the car. And then I thought about the movie with Megan Good and the 90-Day Rule or whatever. And I jumped out the car and I just stood there. And he was like, what? He was like, what you doing? Like, get your butt back in the car. And then I was like, I realized the moment that I was in. And I was like, if I don't train him to open my door now, he will never open my door. And I can't try to say later, well, I only date guys to open my door, when I'll let him slide by with not doing that from the beginning. So I stood outside and I said, you know what? I was going to let you slide just because I was trying to hurry up and get in the car, but I need you to open my door. And he was just like, okay. So that's another thing. When you don't challenge